ready when you're ready, Freddie.
Okay.
Interview me like one of your French girls, Echo. Hanging out in Queen, it was years before on Franklin's, hanging out in Queen City with Sean McQuarrie. And I would go hang out with them every day and just hustle and watch them and watch how cool their lives were and how easy they lived, and I was doing things that weren't so easy and I was really miserable. Sean kept trying to get me to go in business with Aaron Cutts, and he was like, "Oh, you could sell supplies, and Aaron and you will run the shop, and Aaron will run the tattoo shop. You can sell supplies, and we'll vouch for you and show you how to sell, and make sure everybody buys from you." And so that was probably like 2013. And that's when I really started thinking about it. And I asked Sean one day, I was like, "Damn, you want..." Sean wasn't where Aaron Cutts had died. He wasn't working with Aaron Cutts anymore. He was working down the street at Stainless. But Stainless wasn't owned by a tattooer then. It was owned by some rich kid, and Sean hated it and he was miserable. And I was like, "Well, damn, bro, like I'm trying to change my life and get out of what I'm doing. Let's open a you want to open a shop with me?" And then it just started off as a whole bunch of drunk nights. Us just getting drunk at the tattoo shop and talking about it, or at the bar, pipe dreaming. Just a lot of pipe dreaming. I knew I wanted to do it the first time I got tattooed in Queen City. And I made a friendship connection with Sean McQuarrie, and he explained it all to me, man. And I saw firsthand how his life as a tattooer was. Even though he was doing it wrong and squandering it, it was still cool, man. His life was like, it was still a badass life. Like, man, if you weren't squandering this and doing this wrong, you could really be living a lot better. And that's when I decided, man, I'm gonna try to pursue this one day. I'm gonna see if this will ever work out for me. And boom, here I am, 10 years later. Well, Sean McQuarrie wouldn't teach me how to tattoo. I kept asking him, and he was like, "No, we need it to heat." Even though Sean McQuarrie is what Sean McQuarrie is, he does understand the tattoo industry very well. And he kept telling me, "Man, we need someone like you that can hustle, that's honest, that's hardworking, and to go sell these supplies." He was like, "We don't really have anywhere to buy supplies except from Unimax, and they're not really for the tattooer. They're just here to get money, And so John Chansey got me the Kingpin deal. I knew I couldn't keep the shop running with just tattoos alone at first, because, man, it takes years to build a good really build a good walk-in shop. And so I was thinking about it one night, and I was like, "Man, I should listen to Sean. I should start supply." So me and John Chansey started talking about it the next day, and I was telling them I called Kingpin, but they wouldn't really mess with me. And John was like, "No, I know the dude to call, man. Let me get his number." So John got me this dude named Ross. He used to be the head sales dude at Kingpin's number. John talked to Ross for me, and Ross remembered John from back in the day when John was a heavy hitter, and was like, "Damn, John, what's going on?" And John's going, "Baby, I'm going to take care of this kid, man. Put this kid on. He's going to go around the city selling tattoo supplies for us." And so we got that first deal. But right before that, before I could do that, before John made that happen to me, I went to Unimax. And I told them what I wanted to do with the vans and everything, and they laughed at me out the door and told me, "Oh, we tried to do that. The van stuff will never work. You'll never be able to make enough money. It's just too much." And I was like, "Bullshit, like I can do this." So I bought a whole bunch of supplies from Unimax that day. I spent like $10,000 there. Filled up a whole little pickup truck. We brought it back here, loaded it up in the Toyota Camry, and we started selling yellow box needles. I didn't even have cartridges. I just had bar needles and tubes and medical supplies. And then I showed John everything I had, and he was like, "Man, you know what, let's call Kingpin. Let's get you this shit that tattooers are really gonna want." And so we called Kingpin, and the rest is history.
When you first started running the supplies to tattoo shops, like how they greeted you, how the community really took you.
Oh, at first they used to jump me and cuss me out and tell me I didn't belong, and I was stepping on toes, and like I wasn't stepping on toes. Republic started about the same time I did. You know, they just had vans and shit. I had a little Toyota Corolla that wasn't even mine, and they used to give me shit, man. I used to get real nervous, man. I was like, fuck, you know. But when they would start shit with me or start talking shit, I would just make a dash for the car as soon as I could, you know. I opened that trunk. And as soon as they seen that Kingpin supplies, oh, it was on. Oh, you got Kingpin? Yeah, I got Kingpin, Tassol, Unibox. And then at this time, I started getting Helios cartridges. Because at first, we didn't realize everybody was going to need cartridges. I don't know, man. This was like 2014, 2015. Like cartridges that really, everybody just wasn't using cartridges yet, you know? Like the main cartridges were Cheyenne, Helios, and T-Tech. That's what I carried. And like really when it came to pins, you could get like FK Irons and Cheyenne. Those were like the real basic ones, you know? And so I'd get to that car and they would see, and then they would be like, okay. But people used to make fun of me and tell me, oh, this ain't gonna last, you know, go get a real job. It was hard that first year, man. You know, a lot of people still are salty towards me. A lot of people are salty towards me now because I made it through all their salt. You know, they talked so much shit on me and were so, oh, he'll never make it, it ain't gonna last, you know. And now they're salty about me lasting and tried and true, you know. But it took a while to learn how to communicate with tattooers. You know, back then I didn't know I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am now. I used to have to like read the Kingpin magazine. They used to sell you supplies in a magazine. So I would sit up at nighttime and just read the descriptions of all the products. I'd read the whole brochure, all the descriptions. What do they do? What is it good for? You know, and then I would just repeat the brochure to so people ask me questions. I'd be like, oh, this is it, this is that. I used to keep the brochure with me in the car in case I couldn't remember. I'd be like, hold on, let me grab this real quick, I can tell you. And I think a lot of people respected that about me, man. They were like, damn, he really is trying to learn. And after a while, they saw that, man, he is taking this seriously. He's not just out here trying to sell some flies and make a quick buck. And it was obvious because I wasn't making a quick buck. I was really dirty back then. It wasn't all starched jeans and cowboy boots and brand new Solon shirts every day. It was hard going, man. There'd be days I didn't know if we were gonna make it. You know, I spent all the money on getting more supplies, and I didn't really back then know what was gonna sell or what wasn't gonna sell, and my reach wasn't far. But luckily, man, people kept coming into the shop every day and buying supplies, and it just kept doubling and doubling and doubling. Yeah, everybody wants to be a superstar. Everybody thinks they're a rock star in their own little tattoo world, especially the shop owners. And I understand because I own my own shop. You get in your shop, you're inside your world. So the world starts to just revolve around you. And you forget to leave that at the door when you leave your shop. And a lot of people carry those egos with them everywhere. But yeah, the tattoo industry is very ego-driven, very narcissistic. People are really, they smile in your face and they're really friendly to you. But the minute you leave, they're talking shit about you, man, or hating on you. The tattoo industry is very cutthroat and very two-faced. It's not all like that, you know? Like, the tattoo industry you do find the people that you connect with and support you and love you and help you grow. It's hard to find in this industry. It's even harder to keep. Tattooing, a lot of people think they're gonna open a shop and get rich, you know, and they have these ideas of grandeur. You're not gonna open a shop and get rich. You're gonna open a shop and be free. And be able to make your own money and be financially stable and not have to work for nobody else or punch a clock or do all that mundane shit that everybody else does. What is a tattooer? What makes a real tattooer? I like to say tattooer with a hard ER. That's a real tattooer. I look like a fucking douche with my hat backwards. First off, just because you can tattoo, just because you can take a badass photo and put it on somebody's skin and make it look super clean and crisp, and you go to your studio every day, and doesn't make you a tattooer. You know, there's a lot of these people that just get their cheap little pens and their paint by numbers stencil printer, and they learn their little pendulum sweep gradient change and do the same black and gray realism tattoos that you're seeing everywhere, and they get their little private studio downtown that maybe their mother or their dad fronted them the money for. These motherfuckers aren't real tattooers. I call them supercuts. Real tattooers like really understand the art form and the history, you know, and value it and dedicate their lives to it. And a lot of people don't value or respect tattooing like this. They just see it as a way to get money and wear fancy clothes and have an apartment and to take advantage of the free lifestyle that we have without the true value or understanding of it. Like, they don't care about who came before them. They don't care about how this was established. They don't care about the gatekeeping. They want to tear the gatekeeping down. Down. There's a whole generation of people that are tattooing that despise the type of tattooers we are, that think we're trash and we're garbage and all this flash is ugly and it looks elementary and it's cartoons. And I have girls that come in here that don't think this is real tattooing, you know, and they don't even know who Boog is, you know. They don't even know who man, I talked to this girl the other day and I told her I really wanted to get tattooed by Tim Hendricks, and she was like, who? I was like, I don't even want to sell you this shit, man. You know, like, get the fuck out of my shop. Being a real tattooer means you're so dedicated to this, you'll eat ramen noodle for 2 years and sleep on the floor and live out of a closet, no matter what it takes. These pussies out here don't even want to do a real 1-year apprenticeship, and they want to be paid for it too. You know, they want to be paid, they want luxuries, they want comfortability, they want all the fancy things, they want it all right now and everything, and they demand it, you know? And a real tattooer doesn't, you know? What makes a real tattooer is somebody that's just happy to be here, no matter what it brings, no matter what it provides. I'm happy to get to sit down in this chair every day and make a really cool piece of art. Normie.
How are you?
Hi, pretty good. What's going on? What can we do for you?
Oh, you guys work here?
Yeah.
A friend of mine wants me to pierce it. How do you learn to do that? You guys sell supplies?
Oh, yeah, well, one, I wouldn't honestly, man, you don't need to be piercing anybody. You're not a piercer. Okay. Like, I've dedicated my life to being a piercer. This is what I do every day. And I work. I took an apprenticeship and spent years in tattoo shops.
That's what I told him. And
sat under a real piercer, and she sat down with me and hand taught me and gave me study material, and I studied it and I practiced and I dedicated my life to it. You know, this is something I really do. You know.
I told him. I said, no, I don't know how to do that. He said, well, just do it.
Not time to come to a piercing shop.
I said, am I being filmed?
We can blur your face out if you don't want to be on it.
Yeah, blur my face out.
Yeah, we will.
But it's an interesting story. So I said, well, I don't know anything about sanitation, you know, sanitizing a space.
Yeah, it's a whole lesson. It's a whole study in itself.
It's a whole thing in itself. He said, well,
hepatitis is real and it sits on a surface for 14 days.
He said, I'm an RN and a fireman. Why don't you just trust me to take care of that? And I said, okay, well, I forgot you're a risk taker. That's your thing. So.
And I tell him if he wants to get pierced, to come to a piercing studio. There's people like me that this is my living. This is my trade. It's how I, you know. Oh, well, what do you do for a living?
I'm a stockbroker.
Okay, you know, so I'm not sitting here trying to sell people stocks. You know, I'd go to school. I'd go take my, the SEC you got to take, and then I would become a stockbroker, you know. I say that with all due respect.
No.
You know?
No, I understand.
But if he wants to get pierced, bring him over here. I'll pierce him.
Okay.
Most definitely. You're very welcome. You have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.